percentage. I want the win, lucky 7 every time I walk in. You know, every time I walk in, I'm the best thing, I'm the best thing. They all watching every time we walk in. We the best thing, we the best thing.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, thanks for joining. Thank you for joining me this morning, and a special thank you for Modern for letting me come on their Instagram Live and kind of take things over this morning. My name is Nichelle Desautels. I am a full-time educator for the Wella Company in Vancouver, BC. So it's a cloudy, rainy day here, typical Vancouver, but I hope someone somewhere has sunshine. So today we are going to be talking about Wella Professionals' permanent hair color range, Koleston Perfect. So for those of you guys that are Wella users, this will be a great refresher for you and maybe an intro to some of the new technology. But for those of you guys that aren't Wella users, this is a really great introduction to the line. So I hope you guys enjoy it today. Okay. So Koleston Perfect is our permanent hair color range with Wella. We have over 140 shades. We can get up to 100% gray coverage. It has something called Pure Balance technology, and it is PPD and PTD free. Now, I'm going to deep dive into the technology a little bit later, but first I kind of want to talk about Wella's color language with you guys first. Okay, so every color line has a color language, and to make things complicated, every color line does things slightly different. So I just have an image for you guys here. Let's see if I can find it. Perfect. So this is how our tubes read. Now, a lot of questions I get in the field is, why are there only numbers? For a lot of us in North America, we see a lot of alphanumerical color lines out there. So color lines that use a number and a letter, where with Wella, we use just numbers. The reason being is we are a global company, so we sell color all over the world, and numbers are universal. So it just keeps things easy, so we don't have to change the numbers on everything, okay? So how we read our tubes is we have a number and then a stroke, and then either one or two numbers after the stroke, okay? If the first number before the stroke is going to be our depth, or how light or how dark that shade is, okay? If there are two numbers after, or the numbers after the stroke, are the tone, okay? If there are two numbers after the stroke, that means we have a primary tone and a secondary tone, okay? How that breaks down, and this is really good to know in a pinch, is the first number, or the primary tone, is our 2/3 of our formula, whereas the second number, or our secondary tone, is going to be 1/3 of the number, okay? So for all of you guys joining, we're talking about Wella Professionals permanent hair color range, Koleston Perfect. So if you guys have any questions, I am by myself today, so if you have any questions, please feel free, throw them in the chat box, throw them in the question cards. I'll try and keep up with them as much as I can. I do have some coworkers in the chat box that are also going to help me as well, okay? So yeah, when in a pinch, when we need to make a color in the back, or some makeup by Sab, we're not talking about a formula. Right now, I'm just talking about how we read our tubes. I just kind of want to introduce this to some people that might not be Wella users. So not a formula right now, just how we kind of read our colors, okay? So if in a pinch, and I would say out of this color in the back, or I was out of a color in the back, say I've done half a head of a color and realized, oh shoot, I don't have this color in the back, we can make our kind of premix or dual tone shades by mixing 2/3 of the first tone and then 1/3 of the second tone. Okay, so in this case, and 4-stroke 7 doesn't exist, but in this case, it would be 2/3 of 4-stroke 7 and 1/3 of 4-stroke 1. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. The next thing I wanted to quickly go over with you guys is our numbering system. So when I talk about tones, we again use numbers. So this is just a brief kind of overview of what the numbers mean. So we have our stroke 0 series, which is going to be our naturals or neutrals. We have our stroke 1, which is ash. I always like to say with Wella, our stroke 1 series or ash series is a soft, warm counselor. So we have 2 other cool shades that are much more pigmented, but the ash is nice and soft, which is good. Okay. Then we have our stroke 2 series, which is matte. This is also green. The reason why we use the word matte, because people do ask this question, is because if I went up to a client and said, I'm going to put a level 5 green on your hair, they probably wouldn't let me touch their hair. So we use the word matte just because it's a much nicer language to use with our clients, right? Next, we have our stroke 3 series, which is gold. I feel like that's self-explanatory. It's gold, it's warm, it's beautiful. Next, we have our stroke 4, which is red. Stroke 5, which is red violet or mahogany. Stroke 6, which is violet. Then we have our stroke 7 series, which is brown, and this is going to be predominantly warm tones. Okay. And then we have our stroke 8 series, which is pearl or blue. Again, we use the word pearl because it's much nicer than saying blue. And then we have our stroke 9 series, which is cendre or soft violet. So I like to think of it as like more of like a gray violet or like a lavender almost. Okay. So for those of you guys, can be found in the app. It can also be found in the front of our swatch book. If you wanted, you could take a screenshot of this. This is a really handy tool to have in your color cabinet or in the back room for while you're trying to learn a new color language. Another handy thing we have in the front of our book is we have this color wheel here. Within this color wheel, all those numbers live. So if you're a little unsure of where a number might live or a tone might live in our color wheel, we have it right on the front of our book here. And this also can be found in the Wella Professionals app. So if you guys have questions or you wanted to print that off, you can save it as a PDF from the app and then print it off and put it in your color cabinet, which is really exciting. Okay, awesome. All right, so now let's talk about technology. So we have 2 different kinds of technology that we've introduced into Koleston Perfect. The first one I wanted to talk to you guys about is pure balance technology. Okay. So what pure balance technology is it's essentially technology that deactivates the metals that are present on the hair, whether we get metals from our water or from the environment, that can cause free radicals on our hair and cause damage or an uneven color result. So this ensures that we get an even color result with less damage to the hair. Okay. So what are free radicals? Free radicals happen when peroxide mix with the metals that are left on our hair, and they always end up on the more porous parts of our hair, so the ends of our hair, and they interfere with the coloring process. So when we talk about any kind of oxidative dye, or not any kind, but a permanent oxidative dye, we have kind of two components to that color molecule. We have a precursor and a coupler, okay? Now, these precursor and couplers go into the hair separately in the coloring process, and then once they get into the cortex and they start to oxidize, they actually link together in the hair. And each precursor and coupler has a partner that it's supposed to link with. Now, when we have metals that are present on the hair and we put a peroxide on there and it creates free radicals, these free radicals can interfere with that process. So what can happen is the wrong partner, say the red partner, meets up with the green partner, not its other red partner, and now we have an unexpected color result. The color can be a shift in color, it can go too dark. If anybody's ever had a red brown out on them, that can be definitely because of free radicals. So, and also those free radicals, because they're kind of causing that unknown, we can get unexpected damage to the hair. So with the Pure Balance technology, it goes in and it deactivates those metals on the hair, ensuring a more even color result and really reducing the damage that we do to the hair. So it's kind of a game changer. It's really opened up our permanent line in ways that we weren't able to use it before. So that's really exciting. Okay. The next bit of technology I wanted to talk to you guys about today was the ME plus molecule. So anybody that's seen Koleston Perfect, we reformulated it, and now on our boxes there's a little ME plus sign on there. Okay, what is that? So when we talk about precursors and couplers, For most color lines across the board, our precursor and couplers are traditionally something called PPD or PTD, okay? So those are actually the color molecules that we use in hair color. Now, over the years, we've started to realize a lot of people are starting to develop allergies to hair color. And what is it in our hair color that is causing these allergies? We've discovered that most of the time when somebody has an allergic reaction to hair color or a severe allergic reaction to hair color, they're actually allergic to the dye molecule that we're using in all our hair color. So Wella designed a completely new molecule called the Me Plus molecule, which allows us to be 60 times less likely to develop a new allergy to hair color. So, what are the things that we can be allergic to in hair color? We can be allergic to the PPD and PTD. We could be allergic to the fragrance in it even. But the most common one I hear people say is, oh, I'm allergic to ammonia. Now, anybody that knows, hair color and ammonia and kind of the truth about ammonia is our bodies naturally produce it. So it's highly unlikely that someone would be actually allergic to ammonia, right? Because it's something our bodies naturally produce. That being said, that doesn't mean somebody can't be sensitive to ammonia. That's completely possible. So what's the difference? A sensitivity doesn't involve the immune system, but you might get some tingling, some itching, maybe a slight redness of the skin, but it's normally kind of limited to the site of contact, and it usually clears up rather quickly, right? Most of the time this is caused by a reaction from the peroxide. You have to always keep in mind, there's a chemical process going on your head, right? There's peroxide, there's ammonia, there's a whole chemical process that's happening on your scalp. So a little bit of tingling and itching can happen. But what plays into that? What could make that, say, worse? Has the client washed their hair that morning? I know we always tell people, don't wash your hair before you come in for a color service. Now, some clients take that way too seriously and come in with the worst dirty hair ever. But for the most part, it's just because we don't want them to disturb the natural oils or that natural scalp barrier on their scalp before a color service, right? The next one is, do they scratch their heads a lot? Do they use brush and really brush their scalp vigorously that morning? That can definitely cause a sensitivity. What kind of vitamins are they taking? What kind of medicines are they taking? Hi, Nick. Thanks for joining. These are all factors that can definitely go into a sensitivity to, the coloring process that's going on our scalp, right? But when it comes to allergies, we're talking about, an immune response. Our immune system's responding to something that it doesn't like, right? So the reactions tend to be quite severe. So we're talking, it starts off with some burning and itching, and then it can go into dizziness, blisters, faintness, shortness of breath, swelling. I don't know if any of you guys have gone down the rabbit hole of Googling pictures of allergic reactions to hair color, but if you want to horrify yourself, definitely go down that rabbit hole. I personally am not going to bring up any pictures today because I don't want to subject any of you guys to that. But it's, hi, thanks for joining. But it's a quite terrifying thing when somebody has a full-blown allergic reaction to hair color. Now, why did I go down this kind of story of PPD and PTD and allergic reactions and sensitivities? Because this is something that's really near and dear to me. My mom has an allergy to hair color, and we were able to color our hair using Koleston Perfect and the new Me Plus molecule now. And I also have quite a few clients that have allergic reactions to hair color. Most recently, I had a client that came in, and she has not colored her hair in 20 years. And she has a confirmed PPD allergy. Now, when she came in to see me, she's starting to go gray. The highlights, because she was just doing lightener on her hair, weren't covering it anymore. And she was really looking for a solution for her hair, right? But she has a PPD allergy. I was really happy when she came in. We did an allergy test. So how we do an allergy test with Wella is, and most other color lines for that matter, is we take the color that we're using with the developer that we're going to use, and we process it for the time that we're going to process it for, so 45 minutes usually, on just below the crease of the arm. And then we wait. After we wipe it off, and we wait 48 hours. If they don't have a reaction like redness or burning or itching, then we can go ahead and go on with the coloring process, okay? I know in the past, some people were taught to put the patch test behind the ear. Please, please, please do not put an allergen by somebody's face, because that's just asking for trouble. But when she came in, we did the patch test. She came back 48 hours later, no reaction, and we were able to go along with color process. So for the first time in 20 years, we were able to color her hair. And that's just an amazing story, you know, for someone who is maybe feeling a little bit self-conscious with the gray, but didn't have a solution for it. I was able to give her a solution using Wella's Koleston Perfect. So for me, this is huge. It's a huge innovation in hair color, probably the biggest innovation in 130 years. And, you know, we're really lucky to be able to offer this to those clients now. Okay. All right. So enough about technology. If you guys ever have more questions about PPD or PTD or about the Pure Balance technology, feel free to message me offline. I will give my Instagram handle at the end of this live, but I love talking about technology, but I know it's not everybody's forte, so I won't bore you guys anymore. So Koleston Perfect, we have 142 shades and we have 5 developers that go with those. Okay, so this is kind of what the products look like. So we have the blue boxes and the blue developers. So with our developers, we have our traditional 10 volume, 20 volume, 30 volume, and 40 volume. But what's kind of unique to Koleston Perfect is we have something called pastel or it's a 6 volume. Okay, so it's a 1.9 or 6 volume. This is something we can use to color balance faded ends. We can do a couple of different services with it, which I'll go through with you guys. But it's really kind of opens up our permanent hair color range in a different way for you, okay? Our mixing ratios are 1 part color to 1 part developer, with the exception of our special blondes, or when we're using pastel, it would be 1 part color to 2 parts developer, okay? With our traditional Koleston Perfect line, like with the cord line, you can get up to 3 levels of lift on natural hair, but with our special blondes, you can get up to 5 levels of lift on natural hair. So our highlight blondes, our special blondes are beautiful. They're a great way to do multi-tonal blonde looks on natural hair and everything like that. So, okay. All right. So our development time for all of our colors are 30 to 40 minutes, whereas special blondes will be 50 to 60 minutes. Okay. All right. Sorry. There we go. Perfect. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was gray coverage. Okay. So when we talk about gray coverage with Wella, we're mixing a pure natural shade and a target shade. I know a lot of color lines out there nowadays. Sorry, guys. Just have a frog in my throat. So I know a lot of color lines out there nowadays have specific gray coverage lines where you can, you know, grab a tube and put it on the hair and not have to kind of formulate too much. With Wella, we have 142 shades in our permanent hair color range, and you can do gray coverage with all of those shades. So it really gives you a lot of customizability using those shades. So we mix a pure natural with our target shades. So a target shade would be, you know, the shade they actually want to be. Okay. So an example I have for you is here, and I'll explain this while I'm talking about it, or while I have it up. So the percentage of gray white hair is how much of the pure natural shade that we need to add into our formula, but we never exceed a 50-50 ratio. Also, the level of our pure natural shade is going to be the same as our target shade. So in this example, I have a client that has 30% gray white hair, but her target shade is 6-7-1, so a level 6 brown ash. Okay, my formula is going to be 30% of my 6-0 or level 6 natural and then 70% of my 6-stroke 7-1 or level 6 brown ash. Okay. What if this client was 100% gray? Then my formula would be 50% 6-stroke 0 and 50% 6-stroke 7-1. Okay. What I like about this, and like, I know people think, oh, we got to formulate and there's so much mixing, but really think about it this way. This allows you to do gray coverage with the entire Koleston Perfect range. That means any shade that we have in Koleston Perfect, you're able to do gray coverage with. Isn't that amazing? Like, it really allows us to have customized shades for all of our clients, and really give them a custom experience. So I think this is a great way. It's just a little bit of extra mixing in the back, and it really gives you a wide range of colors. Okay. Now, what if this same client was resistant? So I mean like coarse, wiry, white hair that just sticks right up. What would we do if she's resistant? Okay. So we have an intense natural range. You'll see that there are 2 numbers before the stroke where we kind of indicate depth. All that means is it's a double pigmented or intense shades. And specifically with our intense naturals, these are for coarse, resistant, gray-white hair. Okay? So think of that really wiry, coarse hair that's hard to cover. We would use our intense naturals as our pure natural shade in our formula. Okay? We mix our gray coverage 1 part color to 1 part developer, and we mix it with 20 volume for up to 50 minutes. So I say between 30 and 50 minutes. I know most times gray coverage is going to be around 40 to 45 minutes, but I do have a few clients where that extra 5 minutes seems to be everything between covering and not covering. And we always kind of check our color before we rinse it off. Nothing's worse than taking off a full head of gray coverage and realizing, oh shoot, it didn't cover. So I'll always kind of pull a little bit of color back and just check before I rinse it off. Okay. So if I have a client that I'm doing gray coverage on the roots and I need to color balance the ends, we're really lucky to have what we call pure balance service. So a pure balance service is using our permanent hair color range to freshen up faded ends using our pastel developer. Okay, so because of that pure balance technology that deactivates those metals, we're able to use a permanent hair color from root to tip and have an even color result, which is really amazing. If I'm being honest with you guys, 9 times out of 10, when I'm doing color balancing in the salon, I am going to use a demi-permanent. So Wella has a demi-permanent range that complements Koleston Perfect, meaning it has a lot of the same shades. But that being said, in a pinch, say I don't have a color that I need, don't have the color I need in Color Touch, I can go in with my permanent hair color and refresh those ends. So we would be mixing it 1 part color to 2 parts pastel developer for 5 to 15 minutes on those faded ends. Okay, so I would do my gray coverage root, wait, and then come back and reapply to the faded ends. Right? I remember the first time I did this in the salon, I had a little bit of a panic attack because using a permanent hair color on somebody's ends is not something I was used to. But I was really, really happy with the result. The hair was shiny, had a beautiful color result, and it was a really great service. Okay. The next service last service I want to talk to you guys about is pure glossing. Now, you'll hear this service talked about in Koleston Perfect. You'll also hear about the service talked about in Illumina color. So when Chelsea did her product knowledge on Illumina, she also did talk about a glossing service, right? So this is where we mix our Koleston Perfect 1 part color to 1 part pastel developer to 1 part our post color treatment. Now, this is a really great way to just infuse some color into faded ends or faded color, add a ton of shine, and just really refresh somebody's color in between color services. So what I had a lot of when we came out of lockdown was I had clients that, couldn't get in for a color service right away, but I could get them in for a haircut right away. So this was a really great way because it's just 10 minutes at the sink on pre-shampooed hair, was a great way to kind of freshen up their color in between services until I could get them in for another service. And since then, I've had a lot of clients book in between their main color services for this kind of service, because it really does just freshen up that color in between. So it's a quick add-on. It's really easy to do at the sink. It adds a ton of shine to the hair, and it's a really great refresher. So we would, pre-shampoo the hair, towel dry, apply this for up to 10 minutes, and then rinse and move on with their service, right? So I really love this. So I hope you guys get to try this. Yes, I love the glossing service too, Z. Awesome. All right, so that is all I had for you guys today. I know with the PK, we try and keep it short and sweet, so we don't bore you guys too much. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. Here's my Instagram. So give me a follow. Also, make sure you're following Modern. And you can also follow us at Wella Canada West. We're constantly posting pictures and inspiration. We do lots of lives over there too, as well as we post all our education calendars there as well. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Our next live with Modern is going to be on February 18th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and my coworker Zena, or Z Hair Warrior, is going to be doing a creative color blocking service using Koleston Perfect. So I hope you guys tune in for that, and thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.